Good afternoon and welcome to the Office of Economic Development Business Information Session. My name is Margaret McGee. I'm the Business Services Manager. Business Services assist entrepreneurs and business owners in starting and growing their business. We help with navigating through the different departments within city government to obtain permits and occupational licenses. We also connect the business community with organizations that can provide technical assistance, incentives, resources, and other beneficial programs. One way we do this is to host business information sessions. The sessions are held throughout the year and topics are gathered from entrepreneurs and surveys and the information that we collect from the business community. This is a series of 3 sessions focusing on doing business with local government, the state, and the federal government. Today we have Ms. Amy Vinson. She's the Assistant Director at the Office of State Procurement. She will share an overview of her office, how to register as a supplier, where to find bid opportunities, how to respond to bids, and much more. To keep down distractions, attendees, please turn off your videos and mute your speakers. I ask that you place all questions in the chat box and she will get to them when she has the opportunity. Normally they're answered at the end of the presentation. Now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Amy Vinson.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome everybody to the Office of State Procurement webinar on how to do business with the state of Louisiana. I'm going to share my screen so that y'all can see the PowerPoint. It will also be provided to y'all after the webinar. All right, so let's get started. So the agenda for today, we will explore the overview of the Office of State Procurement. We'll talk about procurement methods and strategies for success for vendors. We'll also talk about the state procurement systems, key platforms for vendor registration, bid posting, and contract searches. We'll go over some resources and I'll point out some support tools available to assist vendors and agencies in navigating state procurement. And then, as Margaret stated, we'll open a Q&A period. So feel free to take notes or jot down any questions as we go along for the end of the webinar. So the Office of State Procurement, our mission is essentially to foster open and fair competition while still ensuring that we follow all compliance with executive policies and any legislative mandates that we currently have. We're committed to customer service and balancing regulatory requirements with agencies and with vendors. So the current leadership for the Office of State Procurement is led by Tom Ketterer. He is our State Chief Procurement Officer. Customer service is always one of our office's top goals, but we also have to balance it with our rules and regulatory requirements. So it's a balancing act between what our law and rules allow us to do and providing top-notch customer service. So this is a breakdown, this slide and the next slide, methods of the different procurements offered by our office. And the first method we'll talk about is small purchases. So small purchases are defined by an executive order that is issued by the governor, or when a new order is issued when a new governor comes into office. The small purchase is driven by dollar thresholds. So for any procurements that fall between 0 and 10,000, no competition is required. Agencies can do informal quotes, and normally these purchases are paid on the P card, which is the purchasing procurement card, or you'll hear people say the purchasing card. The 10 to 20,000 mark requires 3 quotes, or through the Hudson Vets Initiative. So if you haven't heard of the Hudson Vet Initiative, it's the certification program, and it's designed to help small businesses with access to contracting and purchasing throughout the state. Most of these purchases that fall between the 10-20 range are done as fax bids. The 10 to 25,000 range does require 5 quotes, but it also can be awarded based on the eligibility of the Hudson Vet Initiative also. So next we have competitive sealed bids. These are commonly referred to as ITBs, and an ITB is an invitation to bid. These are usually low dollar bids for purchases over 25,000. These ITBs have to be publicly advertised in the newspaper, and they're also on the LAPAC website, which we'll talk about LAPAC further into the webinar. But LAPAC is our central station where all of our formal bids are published and posted for review, the public, vendors, and anybody just looking. ITBs are awarded to the lowest bidder who meets all of the specifications. Another method of procurement is the request for a proposal. Those are commonly called RFPs. These are much longer, complex solicitations. And during the RFP process, or when you decide to do an RFP or an agency has a need for an RFP, the RFP method is used because you're looking at something other than just the lowest bid. So RFPs are evaluated based on technical solutions offered by vendors. So what can the vendor offer us? We negotiate it, and we're able to increase or decrease what we thought we wanted on the RFP. So moving on to other methods of procurements that are available. When it comes to non-competitive, that means in plain terms that an agency can directly contract with a vendor instead of posting a formal bid. So non-competitive PPCS service contracting is kind of a broad category, but these are service contracts. So usually when you hear the word contract with the state, these are the type of contracts that they're referring to. So I'll break each one down. Professional services are non-competitive regardless of the dollar amount. Examples include doctors, lawyers, accountants. So like high-level, white-collar jobs. Personal services are also, well, they're unique services that only one single person can provide. So for an example, an artist, only that artist can paint that picture. Another example would be a photographer. These are also non-competitive regardless of dollar amount. So professional services and personal services are non-competitive with no dollar threshold. So when you get into consulting services and social services, those two both have a dollar threshold. Consulting services are a much broader category, and there's also a lot of gray area to what falls under the consulting services umbrella. Some of the examples listed are business management and then large scale service type activities. So consulting is kind of like they're going to tell us how to do it or tell us about the IT system. If it's under $75,000 a year, it's non-competitive. If it is over $75,000 per year, it has to be done as an RFP or another method. Social services are contracts designed to benefit the general public in Louisiana. So these are contracts that include like substance abuse programs, rehabilitation services. If a social service contract request is under $250,000 per year, it is considered non-competitive. If the price per year exceeds $250,000, then you would need to do an RFP. Cooperative purchasing and GSAs. So cooperative purchasing is various organizations that combine their spending power to issue large contracts similar to our statewide contracts. It's just at a much higher level and much larger contracts. Most of our cooperative contracts are through NASPO Value Point. Brand name contracting. These are conducted through formal solicitations where there is competition, but the specifications are restricted on these type of contracts to brand names only. So a couple of examples of some of our brand name contracts is John Deere, or some of our IT equipment for Hewlett Packard or Dell. Under brand name contracts, vendors compete at a distributor level instead of a manufacturing level. These types of contracts, the brand name contracts, also fall under the lapse rule. And if you're not familiar with lapse, the lapse rule requires agencies to take a second step in competition. So to compare the brand name contracts, if you have 3 distributors that can deliver John Deere tractors, then you're going to issue a request, some agencies call it, but to those 3 vendors and state your specifications. So which one can deliver the quickest, or which one can provide the best package. We also have various emergency procurement methods. These fall into 2 categories. So you'll have your one-off unusual emergencies, An example of an unusual emergency would be a busted water pipe, flooding a building at one of the prisons. The other type of emergency would be a catastrophic emergency. And these are emergencies that are declared by the governor, so such as hurricanes. So this slide covers a few tips for strategies for success for vendors. The first is to offer a solution. The next would be for the vendor to register, to receive bid notifications, to compete, and to market themselves and their services, or any items or goods that they offer. Take advantage of the non-competitive purchases and contracts. Get more involved or gain an understanding on whether you qualify for the Hudson Initiative and register for that as well. For purchases up to $25,000, you will receive points for RFPs as a subcontractor or a prime contractor. And you can also partner with other vendors to provide services. State systems that can be utilized for various types of information. So first, let's start with our website. It is the main source of information. If you haven't been to our website, go check it out. We are constantly updating it with new information. LeGov and LePAC. LeGov will be the main system that vendors and agencies use. This is where vendor registration occurs. It's where LePAC bid postings are located, bid notifications, and it also has a listing of all registered vendors. ECAT is the state's electronic catalog of existing contracts. You can search by vendor, by commodity code, contract description. If a vendor is not sure if their company has a statewide contract, they can search ECAT and reach out to the buyer that's listed and inquire about becoming a distributor. The last system is Lisa. Lisa is our new e-procurement system utilized for just RFPs. Notifications are posted to LePAC just like ITB's, but you can respond electronically through Lisa. So when an RFP is posted to LePAC, you click on the RFP number, it'll open up a one-page document that'll provide you with a link. And once you click on that link, it'll send you to Lisa. If you are not set up in Lisa, you will have to register your business. This is a screenshot of the homepage of our website. You'll see where it offers agency resources. In the red square, it's vendor resources and training resources. So depending upon your needs and what you're looking for, vendor resources that are available once you click on vendor resources include general FAQs. It also includes different FAQs for various topics, such as basic bid submittal information, online bidding information, and more. It also has a vendor profile, step-by-step FAQ. And then there's also a help script, which I'll get to later on, that shows vendors how to manage and update their profile. On the top left side, you will see an overview of our office along with a staff directory. This will also display a list of our buyers and the commodity codes in which they cover. It also has their contact information. I think their name is a hyperlink, or I'm not sure which part. Maybe it's their title and their name. That's a hyperlink. But if you click on it, you can send them an email directly. So the next slide includes additional vendor information, such as vendor registration details. Here is where you will see the vendor portal help scripts on how to register, contracting, opportunities. These are all links that'll take you directly to like the federal business opportunities. This will take you to technical assistance and so on. And then there's vendor training resources. This is a screenshot of the homepage of LPAC, the Louisiana Procurement and Contract Network. And this is where, as I stated earlier, that all of our bids are posted. So if you clicked on bid by department, which is here, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. If you click on bids by category, that'll view all the listing of bids by category for that department. Bids by department, when you click on bids by department, state procurement will show up first, and I'll show you that in a second. So here you see the vendor registration menu. The very first item is the vendor enrollment portal. And as I stated earlier, this is where vendors will complete the new supplier registration. They can also maintain their registration. It also provides for agencies a search for registered vendors and a listing of the commodity codes, the UNSPSC codes. So the benefits of registration, there's many benefits for a vendor whenever they register, but I guess most benefit is that you receive the automated notifications of bids and any addenda. And it's also all of the communication from our office. So when we send out mass vendor emails for vendor trainings. So it's the first line of communication or automatic notification from our office. It's free enrollment. It's 24-hour access. It allows, as I stated, vendors to maintain their own profiles. The visibility makes the company accessible to agencies. And that's even for like non-competitive procurements. So additionally, it integrates with the state's payment system. So if you're a registered vendor, to get paid, it's faster processing. You can search LPAC without being a registered vendor. However, if you were in line to receive a contract award, you must be registered. So one of the main questions I get asked is, how do I do business with the state? Always the very most important first thing that I say is go register to be a vendor with the state. So this slide highlights some help documents on our website. The process is pretty straightforward. but there are these available help scripts in case anyone encounters any issues. So going back to LePac, if you clicked on the bid by department, state procurement is listed first, as I stated a while ago. Then it breaks down to individual agencies that have the authority to post their bids on LePac. Agencies that have posted a bid will have a hyperlink. They'll be in blue with an underline. The ones that are just in bold and have a 0 indicate that they do not currently have any bids posted. So as you scroll through, you'll see DOTD. Most of their DOTD stuff is for Title 48 is for roads and bridges procurement. Where you see where it starts off with state. On the left, it refers to state agencies. If you were to scroll all the way down, it's a very lengthy list. You'll see the city of Baton Rouge postings. You'll see universities that post to LePac. So it goes beyond just state agencies. So this is a significant resource for vendors. If you'd like to browse by category, this is a listing of bids by commodity codes. We have them broken out at a very top level. So this method enables the identification of all of those bids within that specific category. So for example, if you're a cleaning supply company and you're not a registered vendor yet. Excuse me. And you're not a registered vendor to automatically receive bid notifications, you can come and search here, bids by category, and you'd click on cleaning equipment and supplies. And then once you click on this category, you'll see that 14 bids are posted. And it's regardless of agency. So the total number of bids contains all of the bids, whether it's a state agency. This is probably way easier for vendors to go and search for open bids than by looking at it agency by agency. So this is probably a more suitable resource to search bids by category. This is the screen you will see listing the bids. So the bid number is to your far left. There's also a description along with the attachments for that posting. It has the date that it opens. So the date that it opens is actually the deadline to submit the response. The help column to the far right will give you the information for the office that posted that bid. So if you are a registered vendor and you receive automatic notifications for the commodity codes listed that you checked on your vendor profile, this is what the bid posting notification will look like when it comes to your email. It'll state LePac, it'll have the number and then the title of the ITB or RFP. So the vendor guide, it provides kind of a comprehensive overview, but it includes vendor registration, bidding, contracting, and customer service processes that we utilize within our office. The guide is also located on the state procurement website. So if you go to the website to vendor resources, to vendor center, and then select publications, the guide can be downloaded and saved. This is a list of OSP contact information. This is our website, and then these are the help desk. So if you had a general purchasing question, you could reach out to our help desk. If you had professional contracts question, we have a help desk for that. Any vendor inquiries, or if you need password resets, and Lisa help desk for RFP questions. And of course, you can call the main number and somebody will direct you to the appropriate person. So that completes my presentation for today. At this time, we can shift into a Q&A if anyone has any questions, or I'm happy to revisit any slide or address any topic that maybe wasn't discussed on the PowerPoint. So if you have any questions, please type them in the chat.
Currently, there are no questions in the chat box. We'll give a little more time.
Okay. If you, after the webinar, if you think of a question that you would like for me to answer, my contact information is located on our website. Feel free to reach out to me at any time or shoot me an email.
And I'll also include it in the email when I send everyone the slides from today. So if there's no more questions, this will conclude the session for today. I want to thank Ms. Vinson for joining us today. You all for attending. Within 5 to 10 business days, this session will be added to our Office of Economic Development YouTube channel. Our next session is Thursday, June the 5th, and our speaker for the day will be Ms. Joanne Lawrence, SBA Deputy Director, District Director. Please check your emails for reminders, and I hope you all will join us the next time. Everyone have a great, oh, wait, I see something in the chat box. Ms. Joanne, would you like to share that information?
Oh, my question was for those purchases where they use the Hudson Initiative, how would a small business find out about? That was my question for Ms. Wilson.
So to find out if you're eligible for the Hudson Veteran Initiative, you can, two ways. You can go to our website and there's a link for the Hudson Vet information that will lead you to the LED website, which is the Louisiana Office of Economics Development that oversees that program, or you could go straight to their website. You could also go to the vendor guide and there's information in there. So there's many ways to get there, but you would see if your company was eligible, and then I'm not real sure what LED's process is, but I'm sure you would have to fill out some paperwork and if you're eligible, and then get certified. And then once you're certified, then your company is added to a list so that when you submit a quote or a bid or a proposal, we go and check that list to see if you're on it, to make sure that you were certified and that you received those points. Does that answer your question?
Okay, so there, not really, but but there, I guess the more direct way, so there's no way to find out about those, I mean, we use the term small purchases, about those smaller purchases that would be eligible to go to those firms that are certified as Hudson or Veterans Initiative. So is it $30,000 now? I may have missed it. You may have said it, and I may have missed it.
That's okay. It's 25,000. So
Okay.
that is the limit for small purchases. So you
Okay.
weren't wondering how to find out if you were a Hudson vet or that you were certified. You want to know how to
How-
find out about business opportunities for Hudson vet contractors.
That's it. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So again, many of different ways to do it. But for small purchases, since those are non-competitive, it's not required that agencies submit those requests to our office. So they're not formally advertised or posted. So in order to get your name out there, you're going to have to, kind of like you would non-governmental agencies, market your company, call to agencies, offer your services, convince them why they should contract with you. Also, LED's website that oversees that initiative, they have, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's for Hudson Vet vendors, and they do provide some type of listing for opportunities that are out there. How they get that list, I'm not sure. I don't know if some agencies report that to them or if it's certain commodities that fall underneath that initiative. I'm not real sure, but there is something on the LED website that does provide some opportunities. It's not going to be all opportunities, but it will show you some things that are out there.
Okay. That's helpful. That's what I was after. And I
Mhm.
hope I didn't miss this. But at one time, there you all posted a listing of like the buyers for the particular products. Do you still do that?
Yes, ma'am. So on our website, to the
Uh-huh.
left where it says OSP overview and staff directory, if you click on
Uh-huh.
there, it is a list of all of the buyers, and underneath their name, list all of the commodity codes which they are responsible for.
Okay. All right. I kind of was remembering that, and I apologize if you covered that, but
No,
I
that's
kind of was
okay.
remembering from some other sessions in which I participated. Okay, that's all my questions, Margaret. I don't know if anybody else has it.
If you have not visited our website or you haven't visited it in a while, we have done major updates. We have added a lot of new information, updated a lot of outdated information. So I recommend go out there, take a look, see what all we've added.
Okay,
Sounds good.
thanks.
Are there any more
Yes.
questions? Okay, so there are no more questions. We'll go ahead and conclude. Again, thank you, Ms. Vinson, for taking your time to be with us today. Thank you all for joining.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes. Everyone, please check your emails for any reminders, and I hope to see you all next time. Everyone, have a great day.